All right, how's that angle looking? Okay, this is literally, and I mean literally, my third time. I mean, yo, this is my third time making this video. Oh my god. So, if it wasn't an issue with the mic, the first time I made it, I was using the mic from the phone. You could barely hear me. I threw my I was talking for like 10 minutes just to realize that like you can't hear anything in a video. And I actually have a mic literally right here in my toolbox, and I completely forgot about it. Then the second time, my phone wasn't even recording, and I'm just like, bro, I'm over it. Anyway, um, what's good, you guys? This is actually probably gonna be a cover video either for the new YouTube video that I'm gonna release, or this one might actually have to end up being a YouTube video on its own. Simply just based off the timing and the amount of stuff I got to talk about. And the last, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but something I kind of just got to throw out there is like, I barely have any free time. And I mean, when I tell you I barely have free time, like freedom for me, especially at this point, is like a legitimate luxury. Like the last YouTube video that I did, um, it was pretty much wrapping up all of 2024. So I mean, I kind of tried to throw a bunch of videos together that were pretty much showing you all the testing, racing, and beyond that I did to kind of get to the point where at the end of 24 in October, I was going like mid to low fives to the eighth for the first time. And that's when I knew I had a 7 second car, and I just been so busy. I've been so busy. You know, that video was months ago. And I feel bad because everybody's always like, bro, like, you gotta make a video, bro. You gotta drop these videos. You gotta drop these videos, bro. You got such good content. Like, we want to see it. We want to see it. And, I'm like, I know, bro. Like, I know, I get it, but I don't have time. Half the time, I don't have time. A lot of people might not know this, but, bro, like, I work a full time job, super demanding job. I got kids.
Max, bring your dad a chair. Now, when I was a small boy.
It's to the point where it's caused issues like at home, because my determination is on like level 1000. And it really takes like a real competitive person, like a super competitive, like especially a racer. Racing is literally as competitive as it gets, whether it's on foot, whether you're on a bicycle, whether you're in cars, and it's been super super tough, and to add some complexity to that particular situation, um I'm an asshole, bro. Like, I do everything myself. I'm gonna tell you that there's 99% of the work that gets done on this car is done by me. I wish I could turn this camera around right now for you, put it on a swivel. I could even show you, one of my two workbenches. I'm building, the engines myself. um I'm building transmissions myself. I'm pulling the engines out, I'm pulling them back in myself. I mean, it's been to the point where, like, I got one foot on, over here on one jack, because I got two jacks, right? One under the transmission and the other one here under the engine, right? And I'm trying to jack up at the same time because I like to put the engine in from underneath the car, lifting it up because I got nobody to literally just pump a jack. Like, it's been that bad for me on a regular basis, and I've just gotten used to it. It's like they say about the mechanics that, they work outside on the floor. You know, this guy. Um, but like I said, I do everything, and blueprinting them. Like, I'm not asking people, a ton of people, for their advice on, no, I'm the one picking compression ratios. I'm the one picking what rods I'm going to use and how long they are and what bearings I'm going to run and what the clearance is, and going off of experience with most of this stuff too. From things that we have had happen in the past. And when I say we, I'm referring to myself. Probably each one of these hands, feet, they count as a person. you know, um, from what head gasket thickness to, what valves we're gonna run, what springs I'm gonna run, what cams I'm gonna run, what should I do with the ports. Half the time that's a discussion with like David Head Games, and we've started from like the race port to the pocket port to barely any porting at all, and look at how fast we're going. Like, bro, I literally built a 7-second car in my backyard. Like, it does not get better than that. It doesn't get better than that. I don't give myself enough credit. And, this is really like one of those pat yourself on the backs moments. Um, I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I went eights for the first time December of 2017. Drove all the way down to Florida. That was a big moment for me. Big moment for me. And we have been chopping away ever since. And for the people that are kind of just coming in now to seeing what I'm doing with the car, this hasn't been like an overnight journey. This is not something I picked up 2-3 years ago and was like, bro, we got to do this. This is cool. Like, I've been on a mission with this 3S GTE platform and this car as a whole for a really long time, and just to see like a bit of the fruits of your labor really start to come back, especially for somebody that's kind of like self-sufficient. Like, I got good people, in my pocket that help me get most of this done, but at the end of the day, it's me. It's just me. I'm the one financing it. I'm the one driving it. I'm the one building it. I'm even the one tuning it. I remember when I first started to tune, I've never like blown an engine up. I've barely even killed head gaskets. And like, I think about this sometimes and I feel like, we when you're at this level of the game, you got to give yourself some credit sometimes. This is probably me giving myself a little bit of credit, but you got to give yourself credit. Um the last video that I uploaded to YouTube, if for those of you that don't know, whoever's new here, my YouTube channel is the same as my Instagram name that I'm gonna post this to. It's The Business Project. Go give that a follow, subscribe, check it out. Um, the last video that I uploaded was pretty much catching everybody up to what happened all the way to about October of last year. I've been meaning to pretty much now start catching everybody up. We're a year behind. I got hundreds of videos on my phone, kind of just showcasing what took place this year in 2025. And I haven't had time, man. Like, I really haven't had time. Like I said, I'm a full-time dad, full-time worker, right? Um, it's definitely caused some problems at home. It's been to the point where like things ain't good. You know what I mean? But I pushed, I persevered, and some sanity has been found in what happened in Maryland. Like, that's an event I've also been trying to get to for years. You know, and just getting there and have it do what I wanted it to do, first pass off the trailer, set me up for my own personal success. It was like, okay, goal achieved. Everything from here is honestly, it's like a level of, what do you call that? Euphoria, right? Euphoric, whatever. That level, once you get there, it's like at that moment, there's nothing really gonna bring you above. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, sure. Even if we go deeper into the sevens at the moment, which it definitely would have, by the way, it's like, who cares? Who cares, bro? Like, yo, we did that. And the backstory on that is me and my boy Nathan overseas, who also has the Barney, the purple MR2. You gotta go give him a follow as well. We've been after this for a long time, and we had some fun, competition with each other, and he knew it, bro. He's like, yo, like, I know if I let this motherfucker go to Maryland, bro, and he catches that good air, and his car seems to be working, and he's at it, he's not giving up. He's like, we talked about it, and he's like, yeah, I knew you were coming, and I had to. And he got out there like 2 weeks before I went to Maryland, and he had some of that cool, England air, kind of the same as us over here, and he got it done. Also 780s in his car. So it was like super, like, major props to Nate for getting it done. But I was a little pissy about it. I feel like at first, because I felt like, damn, bro, like, I've been trying so hard to do this, and it's like, look, somebody gets that goal done first before you, you know, and but it's like multiple ways of looking at it. Because at the moment I was kind of pissed and I was mad, but I was more mad at myself for not making more free time that I don't even have, you know, to devote to getting this goal achieved, you know. Um, but fast forward to, you know, just to kind of catch up real quick on what happened this year. First event of the year was the Priunto event down at Capitol Raceway in Maryland. Um, I had actually broke the cam gear off the cam. I don't even know how the hell this happened, but that's from this cam gear here. If you look, the pin from the cam is actually still stuck in there. But that cam, the bolt broke. It literally broke and snapped off on the last pass that I did up in Lebanon in October of last year. And that's when I knew it. Like I knew that I had a 7-second car. It's just the mile an hour to the eighth, seeing like 140 miles an hour, and you know, 530 whatever I was doing like consistently. I was like, yeah, this car's gonna do it, you know. And we kind of left off in a really good place. So you know, we broke a bucket in that head. So I had David Headgains put another one of the heads together for me, another spare one that I had over with him. He gave it back, put everything back exactly the same. Went to that racing capital and everything was fine, but then we were having transmission issues. Um, every time I would go for second gear, it was like a miss. I figured it was just the angle of the shifter cables. It was like super stiff. That was one problem. I bent like the shifter rod inside of the transmission. That's one thing for sure that happened, which was kind of a pain in the ass. And on top of that, later on in the year, we ended up finding out that the engine lid that I put on was trapping a bunch of heat inside of the engine bay, and that was also causing the cables to melt. So after even at that event, I think I tossed 3 cables in trying to chase that problem. And at the last, this was like the year of getting kicked out in round ones. By the way, every event, round one loss, round one loss, round one loss. Um, round one went to try to launch the car and realized like I couldn't even get into first. We go and look in the engine bay. The shifter bushing is also pops out of the bushing, and I think it was also due to all the tension. So that was a dub. Bring the car back. I believe I pulled the transmission apart to try and figure out what was going on. I can't really remember though. I did something. Put it back together within like 2 weeks. We went to a test and tune down in Cecil. Car went 8.0 at 180. That was the first full pass I made since October of last year, and that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I was kind of ecstatic about that. Believe it or not, the second pass of that test session at Cecil, because the first pass I turned the boost down a little bit. The second pass I turned the boost up some, and first, second, third, when I hit fourth, same thing. That bushing popped out of the cable. I think it might have been after that is when I pulled the transmission out. But also I was when I started having the head gasket leak. It was just too much boost for the MLS gasket to even hold. It was not having it. It wasn't happy. The surface of the deck at that point, because I left that block outside all winter, and it had gotten a little surface rust, but I was waiting on Bullet to send me the fire rings from Australia, and that we had sanded it down with like just like a Brillo pad, not Brillo pad, like the what do you call it, Scotch Brite, and got it to where it was clean, but you could still see like the impression of a little bit of the rust in the deck. And before he went to Cecil, I remember like I didn't care, man. I copper sprayed it. It was good at Capital, but I also hadn't made any 1, 2, 3, 4 hits also. So I think that it started just slowly pushing some water, pushing some water, pushing some water. And I was like, all right, we got to get this gasket out of here. So finally, I pulled that engine out of the car, put that block to the side, took my other block, finally got it machined, got the head gasket, got everything in, put it together. Car was also still on ethanol at that point, which was really interesting. Um, this was after going 8.0. I went to. Did I go to? I think after testing, we went. Oh, I also changed the final drives. Big mistake. Went to a 4.0 from the 4.3 that I was at. Had to literally relearn how to drive the car all over again. Had to be super patient and wait to shift. And if you short shift with that, it was just a nightmare. You'd be dropping in and out of boost. It was it really sucked. But the next event was down at Pan Am's. Pan Am's was cool because it was super hot, but the car definitely went fast. Went fast a couple times, went like 820, I think, once or twice during qualifying. Got to do some pretty nice racing, but then also ended up bending a shifter cable towards the end of the weekend. Um, well, not bending one, melting one because it wouldn't open or close. Got punched out round one by I forgot who Civic that was. Ailman Civic. Um, it was also ridiculously hot. Car was just down on power. Was still on ethanol. Everybody's racing on methanol. My car is also like 400 pounds heavier than what it's needed to be to race that event. That was honestly kind of just a pain in the ass. But it came home in one piece. You know, I was appreciative of that. Next event was the not revival, but it was like round two of Payonta's event. It was a Nopi event in like August. Also hot, but down in Maryland. Good event too. Got some good data, but I had some air in my clutch line. Should have bled that fluid. Didn't do that. Was having a hard time getting the slipper valve to really do what I needed it to do. So I was just having a ton of wheel speed every time I would launch the car. No matter how much I would turn the valve up, it would just be like not slipping and not doing what it needed to do. Super inconsistent. Got punched out there with Duffy. I think I went like 840 something or 830 something at like 178 or something like that. During that event. Got some good data from that event though. That I believe was the first event that I was on methanol, if I remember correctly. Um, I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe Pan Am's. Yeah. Pan Am's is ethanol, and I said we're not doing this again. The Nopi event, last one in August, was definitely methanol. That's when I made the switch, and I was super upset at myself for not doing this earlier because it made such a big change with the car. Um, and then fast forward, I was already locked in for Maryland. I already got the time that I needed. Literally just got to it. It was an 8.0 at 180. So we were good to go. I wanted to race Limited Street. That was been a big dream of mine. I was ready. No matter what I did, I was going to Maryland. We get there. And my plan, I had bled the clutch. I had lost weight. The car could be 2450, I believe. I was down to like 25 and change, 25, 20 maybe or something like that. Um, Last minute, I mean, I'm taking dash out. That's why you see like my panel in the car is like all flippy, flop, whatever. It secured it. Even came, I didn't care. I was like, whatever, bro. We're going there and we're going to go fast. That's my only plan. And got alignment, do what I needed to do. Got down there, and the first pass, I made a test hit in the street like the night before, and it was like super nice. I was able to make that car launch in the street with all that power, just slipping the life out of the clutch. So I knew that the clutch was finally back, the slipper was back, doing what I needed it to do. First hit off the trailer, bro, 788. 788 with like a 10-second short track because of the amount of clutch slip. It was a ton of clutch slip out of the hole. And I was super excited. And I mean, super, 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 super excited. I mean, you couldn't take that from me in the heat of that moment. And it was one of those situations where, like, usually they tell you that your fastest passes seem slow because the car is kind of like all over the place too. Like, nothing about that pass seemed slow at all. Like, nothing, absolutely nothing. But I knew it was quick. I knew it was a 7. I didn't know how deep into the 7s, but I knew it was a 7. And bro, I literally cried. I got that time slip. I cried. I came back. All my people were there too. It just made that moment like super special, And again, like I mentioned earlier, I didn't care what happened from there. It was a little bit of a mess. Fast forward, we had the flywheel bolts come loose. We had twice to drop the trans. Take the flywheel off, which broke into like a bunch of pieces because of the amount of what do you call it there, studs in between the flywheel bolt holes that we put. I mean, dowels. It's just It was a mess. Had my boy bring a flywheel down, another one that I had from New York, which wasn't perfect, but whatever. We figured it would try to work. And torqued the flywheel bolts this time as well because I was always using my gun. Torqued them, made another pass, came loose again. Dropped the trans one more time, tightened them because that's all I had. Put it back. That was a nightmare. We had this like 2 hour scramble session of like not being able to get the transmission lined up with the clutch disc. That was a nightmare, but we ended up doing it. We like rushed and scrambled, and they called us, and they were rushing us and rushing us and rushing us, acting like like that's it. Like I was gonna miss the call for round one just to find out that we're gonna pull up here and sit in the lanes for 2.5 hours. So that was hilarious. Um, but we made it. Went to the lanes. Round one against Aaron Hernandez in the Civic, and I was completely. I took let the slipper valve a little bit more loose, so I pick up a little wheel speed, and I knew it was going to be fast, but I kind of forgot about some things. The fact that I was on methanol, that cool air, the amount of extra power that I was going to be making at the same launch settings as earlier, and it was just making a lot of jam. Like way, it had the same launch settings in it from when I was on ethanol and running the same amount of boost, and it was just making so much more power. Plus, we finally degreed the cams. That was another thing. So I really should have took some serious power out of the car, like on the hit, and I did not. There's just too much going on, and yeah, we went for it, and the car just like tried to take off. I mean, literally like NASA, you know, and the rear driver side tire when I was coming down skimmed the wall. That's like the moment that everybody's seen on YouTube and beyond. Um, and I just went for it. I went for it. I didn't see the car next to me, and it was instantaneous. Like, go, just go. You'll get through round one. So it was kind of just a spur of the moment thing, a little irresponsible, but I own that one for sure. Not something I'd like to have happen again, though. So trying to make the necessary changes, pushing into 2026 to make sure that we kind of have a handle on those things happening again. But that's a little bit of like a brief overview of 2025. It adds a little bit of context to the videos that I know that I'm going to be posting probably over the next couple of days to weeks and things like that. Um, like I said, not everybody here has been here from the beginning. Some people are just getting here and realizing what I'm doing. Some people have been here forever. So it's an update for everybody. Um, Hopefully, like I said, my goals for 2026. It sucks that I gotta kind of slow down a little bit too, because I gotta make some changes in my life. Because all this racing has kind of put me behind a bit, But my plan is to definitely want to make it to Maryland again. I definitely want to get to one major event throughout the year. But the rest of it, if I do race, it'll be testing, just testing, 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 testing. Kind of just want to perfect my trade. Um, and you know, hopefully, I had to check my camera, make sure I've been talking for a while, make sure that thing's still recording. Hopefully, we get some consistency. Hopefully, we get some times that I know this car can definitely run. I mean, I have a goal in mind, but I don't want to just throw it all out there into the universe just yet until we are solid, you know? So one step at a time, one step at a time. This car is super capable. It showed me so much, so much. And I'm like I said, I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of everybody that's been here from the beginning, that's helped me get to this point. But yeah, um, proud of everybody that's helped me get to this point. Of course, my mic died. 25 minutes of talking will do that to you. Um, Again, everybody listen. Like I said, my YouTube page is The Business Project, same as my Instagram page. Give me a follow, give me a shout. I'm not trying to get, YouTube famous off of all of this. But if anything, it's also going to be like a log for me down the line, something that I could look back and be like, oh, this was going on this time, this was going on then. And listen, we pick up a bunch of followers of people along the way. I'm cool with that too. Um, but that's why it's called originally, right? It was called a video log, right? That's kind of what this is for me. So stay tuned. Like I said, I got some major plans in store for the car for sure, but I got to do it at a pace that allows me to take care of everything else that I got to do and be responsible. Because we're all adults at the end of the day. We all got different things going on. But for me, you know, like I said, it's like trying to separate the fun and being responsible, and you know, we gotta be a dad, we gotta be, you know, we gotta be a man, whatever. Like I said, stay tuned. Give me a follow, give me a shout. If you guys have any questions, you know, drop them in the comments, drop them wherever, drop them in the DMs. I'm always willing to, you know, chop it up with whoever wants to know a little bit more about, you know, the craziness that takes place with these cars and, you know, this engine platform. And listen, if I can help you, I'm happy. All right, we can all grow together. Anyway, stay up, take care, stay tuned.